shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist. Michael Knight, a young loner on a crusade to champion the cause of the innocent, the helpless, the powerless, in a world of criminals who operate above the law.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Night, brought to you by the GCRN and Audible.com. I am one of your hosts, Dave, Joe, and Mike, and joining me is Dion the Music Man. Hello.
Hello, sir. What's going on?
Oh, not much, not much. Today we're going to be going Beyond the Night and reviewing 3 more episodes from Knight Rider Classic Season 1. Hit the turbo boost, KITT.
I saw Ron Austin.
The counterfeiter?
In Alpine Crest.
Let's go get him!
He is a slippery one, isn't he, Michael?
I have a constitutional right to know what's going on.
But as soon as I know what's going on, I promise you, you'll be the second to know.
Money! I gotta get through it, counterfeits!
Either you find a way to detour him, or I'll shut down the presses.
He's a Bible salesman.
That's what keeps America great.
Michael sent me. He's in jail.
So first up is a nice, indecent little town. The trail of a counterfeiter leads to a sleepy little village that not only appears to be harboring the criminal he's after, but is also under the eye of the CIA. Yeah, a counterfeit plot. Oh boy.
I don't really know what to say about this particular episode.
I mean, there are some good points about the episode, but as far as the overall story, it falls into that.
Are we surprised category?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it does. It doesn't really shock me at all. It doesn't really get me, oh my God, this episode of Knight Rider is simply amazing. It's not one of those. It's one of those where I liked it. I thought it was decent.
I liked it too, but it you could watch it and kind of pass by it and like, all right.
Yeah, this episode is more so is background noise. Really, I mean, you'd put this on to vacuum the house or do dishes or something like that. So yeah, I mean, the point is Michael is after this counterfeiter, and it turns out that he's in this town that's supposed to have lowest crime rate in the country and blah, blah, blah. And it turns out that that's not the case at all.
Yeah, because Devin was supposed to give out this award to this town. And,
yeah.
That's... And again, crooked cop.
Yep. It just... Yeah.
There's not really much to say about this one.
Not really as far as the plot, no. I mean, there are amazing stuff for scanners on when we get to it, but the overall plot, there just really
There's not a whole lot to say.
So let's turn these scanners on. I love how 2 people just standing on the street talking to each other have to bend down to see that there is no one in KITT when he starts up. It's like they're not even paying attention to the car. They're having their own conversation. They hear the car start up, and they have to actually look to see if anyone's in the car. Really? I mean,
yeah.
I know KITT's engine noise is loud, but really, you have to stop your entire conversation to see the fact that no one is driving the damn car. I mean, I thought it was funny, but it was like, really?
Slow class moment.
Yes. Michael accusing KITT of counterfeit. I thought that was hilarious.
That was awesome. Great.
Let's see. Chasing Austin lands Michael in jail. Talking to cars put me down. That was the when KITT was impounded and they hoisted him up.
Yes, and they hoisted him up. Yes, my dear, I'm a car, not a plane.
Yes,
that was awesome.
Yeah, and I absolutely love, and again, this goes back to what we talked about when we talked about the episode "Just My Bill" a few podcast episodes ago. Mm-hmm. I love the switcheroo with Aunt Martha in KITT while Michael is in the 50s car, which actually will come back
again.
Michael has a affliction for a 57 Chevy in a certain reunion thing. And I absolutely love the reaction from Aunt Martha when riding in KITT and after riding in KITT. It's so awesome.
Her face is so sweet in this, and the fact that when they turbo boost, you just see Aunt Martha's face going, "Oh, please land safely."
Exactly.
So that was great. It was awesome, and who knew that Aunt Martha would have fun in a talking car?
Yes. And I don't know what it is, but the ending to this episode, they left Michael holding the Bible.
Oh, that was so pathetic. It was sad. It was and it wasn't, because it was like Bonnie and Devin, they're like, bye-bye. So,
yeah, exactly.
So you see Michael like, okay. And you see Michael with this look like, all right, I have to read from this book so KITT understands how this was done.
Yeah. Really, all you had to do, since this was... I forget in the show if it's 82 or 83, because I know that in a couple episodes to this point, they have said the year. And I know the beginning of the series is 82.
Right.
But I think later on, I forget which episode it is, that they say it's actually 1983. So the timeline in Knight Rider is kind of askew, but it's one of those things where in 1983, all you really have to do is go find a 8-track or a cassette of Bill Cosby's 1969 Best of Cosby thing, where he's talking about the apple. He's like, because in the Bill Cosby album, Best of Bill Cosby, he's talking about the apple, and he's talking about me and you, Lord, and all this. And all that.
Noah, yes, building the ark.
Yeah. Oh, what'd you have for Scanners On for this one?
Scanners On, I like the fact that we actually get to see Aunt Martha having a good old time in KITT. It's also kind of funny to see police cars crashing into each other.
Yeah.
Michael actually trying to not only catch the bad guys but right the wrongs in this episode, which they're actually trying to get back to their original formula when the show started out. Righting the wrongs and getting those that were above the law. So again, it's one of these episodes that you can wash the bitter taste out of your mouth.
Well, there was no real bitter taste.
Well, unless you're looking at the previous episode.
Topaz wasn't that bad.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying I'm not saying Topaz was horrible, but I'm saying if you had an episode before a decent little town.
Yeah,
that was bad. Yeah, it's one of those episodes you can, okay, I can watch this, but it's also one of those, thank God somebody redeemed themselves. So that's about all I have for Scanners On right now.
Let's turn the scanners off. And again, I really did enjoy watching this one. Like I've enjoyed a lot of the ones past, the one that we will never talk about ever again.
No,
because we will not forget that episode. Yes. That episode is never to be mentioned again.
No, I don't even want to see. I don't want to hear comments about that episode.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's a corrupt town between the sheriff and Barneswell and everything else. Of course, things are going to go bad. And not that I mind this, but I have to point these out in Scanners Off, and I know a lot of shows, a lot of television shows back then, and even a lot of shows nowadays will use stock footage, but they intercut the original Night of the Phoenix jail scene into this episode from Michael being in jail.
Yes, they did. Except this time he's not laying on a bed. He's actually standing up.
Yeah. But, well, no, he is.
Is he laying on a bed?
Yeah, I think he is because he gets up. It's like the cut-arounds where the sheriff's like, what was that? You know, that's all new, that's all different. But the actual break-in...
That's the same...
It's essentially copy and paste from Night of the Phoenix. It's all the same. It's the same jacket. It's the same red shirt. It's all the same. The only thing that they didn't do, and I don't know how they did this since it is stock footage, they didn't have the line of Michael was like, in Night of the Phoenix, he was like, I don't know how you did this, but I'm glad you did, or whatever else.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't have that line. But
where he says, I don't know how you did this, but thanks. And he says, the kid says, you're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. And again, because they couldn't have that line here because at this point in the series, the voice modulator had changed.
Yes.
So it would be weird, and it wouldn't be the stock footage scene, so they essentially cut all of that. You know, they cut the vocals out, but it is essentially the same damn scene as far as from Night of the Phoenix. And like I said, it's not
a bad thing.
It's not going to make me take points off the episode because of it, but I just find it funny when I find the...
When I saw that in jail, like you're saying, I thought, where have I seen that before?
Yeah, it was from Night of the Phoenix. Did you have anything else you didn't like about this one?
Well, obviously, like you said, the corrupt town and I think the one thing that I didn't like was the fact that you had two private eyes sort of tailing Austin. Not private eyes. Well, one was a private eye, and the other one was Michael Knight. So I was like, okay, why do you have two people from two different agencies, even though the second agency is not mentioned in the show, doing the same thing? Yeah. So that's the only nitpick that I have.
That isn't Jim Litton in there. I don't know who or what is inside him.
Hey! I think that man needs some help. What's going on around here?
The animals are more friendly than people are.
Bonnie, come on, wake up. We gotta get out of here.
Up next is Chariot of Gold. Michael investigates the mysterious deaths of members of an exclusive club for geniuses. Helios involved in an archaeological dig. Oh my God, you've got to be kidding me.
Can we put this with the other episode we're not allowed to mention?
It's not that bad.
I know, but just think about it. The way this kind of... I'll let you read the plot, and then we'll go from there. Now I know you've already read it, but you know what I mean? Like, we'll discuss it.
Yeah, the basic here is that the story is this super secret society, Helios, or
either or. It's pronounced either way.
Yeah, either or. This plot is so lame. What it boils down to is they want to rob a museum of gold. And in order to do that, guess what?
They
gotta try to steal KITT. And guess what? They falsely nominate Bonnie because she is KITT's mechanic. And she can be more subdued to control versus Michael would.
But you realize, though, this is the first time that KITT is tampered with.
Yes. That's true.
This is the very...
Well...
No. This is the very first episode where someone from the Foundation literally reprograms KITT.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
Because the only thing that she could not change was his, programming for the domination or the preservation of human life.
Human life, yeah. Overall, this plot
is lame, though.
It's lame. It's weak. It's essentially gold diggers that want to steal gold. It's your average, museum heist plot. It's not really at all that great. It's just a robbery. That's all it is. And the stupid thing of it is it's a robbery to finance an underground city in case of nuclear holocaust. Seriously, an underground city. They want to become mole people.
Which could possibly be destroyed anyway.
Yeah. Oh my god. Let's try to get some positives out of this one.
Glenn, I ask you again. What the fuck were you thinking?
So let's turn the scanners on.
Not much here.
I've got a couple of things that I could enjoy.
Think, really.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. Jim's dead. He's dead, Jim.
Star Trek reference.
Yeah. Horrible Star Trek reference. I didn't understand it at first because we hadn't seen the scene of them showing the Knight Rider, of them showing the footage of KITT. But like when the creepy Helios guy is like, we're accepting Bonnie, and I'm like, Bonnie already belongs to a fine organization. Flag, you idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you already mentioned it. We get our first we want to steal KITT storyline.
Yes.
Separate the car from the driver. I really do enjoy it when Michael is sneaking around, but you'd think he'd wear some more sensible shoes. I could hear his heels clicking as he walked.
You too?
You would think the security guards would hear that shit.
Or walk quieter.
Yeah.
Find a way to walk quieter in that.
Yeah. I find it very, very strange that the escape as Michael is trying to get Bonnie out when she essentially pulls a gun on him in KITT and is like, turn around, we got to go back, blah, blah, blah. So they essentially brainwashed her. Oh.
And the fact of, KITT's not understanding and Michael's like, pal, you better listen to her.
Yeah. And again, I have to, I gotta praise the music in this scene where Michael tries to escape after learning the Helios plot. It was really, really cool music.
I did like that. I love the music.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying Don's stuff here.
Hey, he got it right!
Shut the people will never get it through their heads that KITT will never take a human life, let alone Michael's life. What did you have for Scanners On?
Scanners on for this one. Was it scanners on or off? I thought we did the on.
Scanners on.
Okay. Scanners on for this one. Thank God we're not talking about the plot because there really isn't any. I do like the escape sequence. I do like the suspense for this one. But, just kind of the, oh my God, really? This is so predictable moment kind of comes across your face. So, that's about it really for Scanners On for me. There's probably a lot more nitpicking that I will do when Scanners Off.
So let's turn the Scanners Off. Graham's interest in Bonnie is just creepy as all hell. That dude is just creepy as all hell. He just is. I don't know. What did you... I mean, that's pretty much all I wrote down. I mean, this episode is essentially so forgettable. There really wasn't any real nitpicks I had. But what about you? What do you have for this one? Stuff you didn't like about it?
One thing, and that is... kill Michael Knight, KITT. Kill him! And you just see KITT starting up and headed towards Michael, and Michael Michael finally figuring out the plot near the end.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, really? You're kind of leaving Michael to figure this out. Where the hell is Devin during all of this?
Yeah, really, exactly.
We don't see Devin at all. except maybe in like the few
We
first.
see him in the beginning. We see him in the beginning because he thinks he's going to get the award, and then we see him at the end of the episode. We don't see him in the middle.
See him in the middle. So it's kind of like, Michael has to talk KITT out of being brainwashed or computer washed or whatever you want to call it. And then Bonnie the same way. And it's just like, what? Why? No, go away. So that's my scanners off nitpick. The fact that you're trying to reprogram a car to kill a human life when that car has the preservation of human life in the first place. That's just kind of like, all right. First of all, if that were the case and Bonnie reprogrammed him, why didn't she reprogram that, that part of the car to take Michael out? That would have made more sense or something, but unfortunately that didn't happen. And so there you go. That's my nitpick about that particular segment there. Plus the underground city.
Yeah, that was just dumb.
I didn't like that. I didn't like the underground city. And the other nitpick I would have, it's a small one, but it's at the very beginning of the episode, is when Jim Litton is in the hospital and he's freaking out. Like, yeah, I mean, he just, it looks like he wants to tear his own eyes out.
Yeah.
Just like, and he's like, that isn't Jim Litton in there. I don't know who or what is in there or what is inside of him. And I'm like, you know this guy. You should know who he is. You're the one. Really?
Yeah, it's a little frustrating. Mm-hmm. So let's just move on.
Michael, I'm picking up 2 men on the ridge above you. One has a rifle.
Stephanie, get inside! Go! Take cover!
Our conspiracy case rests on your testimony.
No matter what happens, you stay with KITT.
But you just seem so familiar to me. Your voice, the way you move.
You're gonna try and take her out of the picture before she gets to the grand jury.
And finally up today we have White Bird. Michael tries to prevent a lawyer's assistant from being framed for conspiracy, but there is a complication. She was Michael's fiancée before his identity change. Ah, yes, White Bird, the next episode that continues the KR continuity. The plot of this one is just, it's so good. It's so nice. And I think at this point, after doing some research, I think David Hasselhoff and Catherine Hicklin were falling in love or starting to date while this aired, because they didn't actually get married until a year after this aired on TV.
Right.
They got married March 24th, 84. This aired March 4th, 83. But the chemistry, the whole thing of him, getting a paper and seeing that it's his long lost love, and it's just a great, great episode. I mean, really, when you boil it down, without the continuity bits, without it being personal to Michael, it is essentially just a higher, gangland type of, mob episode, but with the continuity bits and with the story of Michael and Stevie, it's just so great.
It's awesome because we kind of get a little more, more of a glimpse into Michael Long's personal life, even though he is Michael Knight, but we get a bit more of a glimpse of Michael Long's personal life, into who he was, engaged to be married to. And I liked this episode because of the way that the plot revolved around itself. There were no problems with this, and you could sit and watch this and go, wow. But I guess my only, and it's not necessarily a complaint, it's a question of why didn't this maybe fit after Night of the Phoenix?
Because it would have been too soon.
You think so?
Yeah. It would have been way too soon.
Because if you remember, Bonnie was asking, who is Stephanie Mason?
Right.
And, Michael tells her, because she didn't know, that Stephanie and I were engaged to be married. Before I had this identity, before I was Michael Knight, but when I was Michael Long.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it would have fit.
You don't think it would have fit after Night of the Phoenix, though?
No, because I don't think. Did Bonnie come in on Deadly Maneuvers? I don't remember when her first.
No.
You got to think back
That's right.
To when Bonnie's first episode was, because it wouldn't have fit right after Night of the Phoenix. Because Bonnie doesn't come in until.
I don't think she comes in until episode 7 or 8.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have fit there.
No. Right, but
and she's already in by Trust Doesn't Rust, so it wouldn't. It couldn't have happened by before where it is. And I'm perfectly fine being at episode 19 of season 1 because we've got, with the continuity bits, you've got you got Night of the Phoenix, you got Trust Doesn't Rust, and you got this. So you see continuity within the overall franchise and with the overall mythos of it. Night of the Phoenix was setting up the story, was setting up the Night legacy. Trust Doesn't Rust was
finding out about another car.
Yeah, finding out about another car. This one is finding out about Michael's past. And so it fits perfectly where it is here.
I do see I do see what you're saying.
Yeah. However, I will say, and I will bring this up when we get to episode 8 of Beyond the Night, when we do the season 1 recap, I will repeat this. I do think they could have made this the season finale. I don't think. I think it would have.
I don't know.
I think it would have worked better. My one complaint so far about Knight Rider is that season 1 just ends on a regular episode. It does like even back then, television studios and producers and filmmakers and everything else, they were thinking of ratings and cliffhangers and everything else, because there have been several cliffhangers back in the the time that this show was made.
Right.
And I think that Glenn Larson and his producers and his writers weren't really thinking of, okay, how do we end this episode on an epic note to get people to come back? Basically, my point here is that Knight Rider has amazing jumping off points. They have amazing season premieres, but they have completely lackluster season finales. It just ends on a regular episode.
Yeah.
Every season does.
Yeah, and I'll bring this up in season 4 later.
Season 4 with Scent of the Roses. Yeah. I mean,
I'll bring that up later. I will bring that up later, but I think that particular episode, instead of Voodoo Night, god awful.
Yeah,
that was bad.
I mean, it would have made more sense to have Scent of Roses be the series finale. The same thing as I think, as much as I don't mind White Bird being the 19th episode of season 1, I think it would have made it better. Like you were asking me earlier, do I think if this should have followed Night of the Phoenix?
Yeah.
No. I think this should have been the end of season 1 to lead into the whole Goliath thing that starts season 2. Because this would have made people on the edge of their seats waiting for more if White Bird was the season finale of season 1. So yeah. Any other notes on the plot?
The plot, you can really see David's emotion come out in this, and this goes, and he's trying to keep business and personal separate, but you can tell within him it is very difficult because it's you think about it in the show. It's his wife, well, it's not his wife, but it was someone he was dating. And, he's protecting her. And so he's putting his life at risk by doing just that. So, Devin, obviously Devin says, look, you've got a choice to make. Explains his past to him a little bit. And it's a heart-wrenching storyline, but I'm glad that Glenn and his producers wrote it this way.
Yeah.
And I now see why, when I asked you earlier about following the Night of the Phoenix, I now see why as I look back on it, just kind of it couldn't have worked. It would not have worked because, like you said, Bonnie wasn't there at the Foundation until several episodes later, or brought in later, and things like that. So,
and again, the reason why I say that this could have been the season 1 finale is because of what Michael tells her. He tells her, years before, you were ever, years before you were ever here, and that's what makes me think that this whole Knight Rider like the timeline in universe is so skewed because you have Michael on all these different missions, and you have these 3 episodes in season 1 between Night of the Phoenix, Trust Doesn't Rust, and Whitebird, where it's continuity driven, but you have all these other missions that he's already been on. So you would think that he's been doing this for a number of years to this point. Right. That happens in Whitebird. That's why he says, years ago, she was
I got this, before I was Mike. Before
I had this face, and Bonnie's like, I'm sorry, Michael, I didn't know. No one knows except
Devin.
Now you.
So Devin knew a lot about Michael's past.
Yeah,
and
they had to have. I mean, of course,
Well, Devin
and
Wilton
were not going to just get a guy off the street. I'm sure they did their
homework,
their diligence.
Right,
yeah.
They did their homework, and so Devin and even before Wilton's death, Devin knew about Michael's past, and Bonnie didn't know, and I don't, and in the episode you could tell she was getting frustrated. But not at him. She just wanted to know who this individual was, and so Michael had to calmly and painfully explain to her, look, before I got this face, before I became Michael Knight, Stephanie and I were engaged to be married. And you could see the pain in Bonnie's face, like, oh my God. I did not know. And, like you said, like we both said, Michael said, no one knows except Devin and now you. And so I think that was kind of a heartfelt moment there again. So it was just it was a good moment there between those two.
Who is Stephanie Mason?
Bonnie, in my other life, when I had a different face, when I didn't have this identity, when I was Michael Long, Stephanie and I were engaged to be married.
Michael, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah. No one knows. Except Devin. Now you.
I've programmed KITT with everything I could get on call. I hope it helps.
Yeah, me too. Thanks a lot.
Michael. Be careful.
Alright, so let's turn these scanners on for Whitebird. I love the shock and awe on Michael's face when he sees the newspaper. Stevie?
Yeah. ...
I love that.
It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, and there's such chemistry between Michael and Stevie. Of course, it helps that Hicklin and the Hoff were dating / falling in love during this.
Yeah.
Michael's blood pressure ain't as bad as he thought it was. I thought that was a great line.
Yeah.
It's okay, Stevie. Why'd you call me that? Well, Michael played that off well. It's in the scene when when he comes into the apartment and she attacks him because people had already been there, and he's comforting her, and he's like, "It's okay, Stevie," and she just pulls back and stares at it like, "Why'd you call me that? No one's called me that in years."
Yeah, she thought that Michael was another attacker, and Michael identified himself. Yeah.
This makes the first time, but sadly not the last time, that Stevie was shot. Oh no!
Oh, don't remind me.
Same arresting officer. Coincidence? I think not. I absolutely love the ending.
Anyone? We've mentioned that throughout several podcast episodes.
Yeah. I love the ending to this episode, even though it is sad. I just love this episode overall. It's just so good. There's a handful of episodes from this show that I will watch just those episodes, and this is one of them. What do you have for?
You do that same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the plot. I love the plot. I love the way that the chemistry is there between Catherine and David. I love the ending because he goes outside, gets in KITT, starts him up, shuts him off, looks straight into the camera and says, "I wonder if she knew." And then KITT says, "Look in the glove compartment."
Yeah.
And he looks inside, and she left it. She left the
necklace.
Yeah. And I did not know at that second if David was going to cry again or not, because it just was like, wow. I think she figured it out without having to ask a lot of questions.
Yeah. Well, and she kept saying throughout the entire episode of, I just have this feeling that I know you, the way you move, the way you talk, the way you act. She kept saying that. And she did know. I mean,
and of course you hear Devin. Does she know who you really are? And Michael says no, and Devin says, "Good, keep it that way." But I really, truly think, like you said, she knew without having to ask a lot of questions.
Yep. Overall,
great episode.
We can't say enough good things about this.
Thank you, Glenn, for redeeming yourself again.
He's gonna kill you, dude.
I know. No, honestly, no. And all joking aside, but this is one of those episodes that you will never get tired of watching. It's got a great story, and it's got a, it's heartwarming. It's sad. It has happiness. It has sadness, but it also has its moments where there are actions. And there's one thing I do want to point out, and I don't know if you wrote this down, TFG, but it's when Michael is introducing KITT to Stevie, and of course KITT doesn't say anything, and you see Stevie just laughing.
Yeah,
and it's like, come on, KITT, say something. She thinks I'm gonna go.
She thinks I'm nuts.
Yeah, she'll think I'm crazy. And then you see everything light up with his synthesizer. Hello, Stevie. Michael isn't crazy, not in the clinical sense, at least.
Yeah.
So that was I loved that not that episode. I'm sorry, that scene. I loved that scene. That was awesome. That was a great scene, and it was comical. And I'm glad it was a comical scene there.
Yeah, it was very, very awesome.
Stephanie, it's me, Michael.
Oh, Michael. Oh, I thought they'd come back. I didn't know.
Who? What happened?
2 men came while you were gone. They tried to break in when I wouldn't open the door, so I ran up the back.
It's okay, Stevie. It's okay.
Why did you call me that?
What?
Stevie. Nobody calls me that anymore.
I guess I'm pretty thorough, huh? I must have read it in the Foundation's files. Come on.
So let's turn the scanners off. I just have a couple of nitpicks. It really has nothing to do with Michael and Stevie or the overall
plot.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing. It doesn't take away from my love of the episode, but that name may not mean anything to you. Oh God, the actor that is playing the Fed agent just annoys the fuck out of me.
I can't stand him. He sounds like a very young Joe Pesci. I mean, without the New York accent.
Yeah.
Without the New York accent, it's a young Joe Pesci dressed in an annoyance costume.
Essentially, yes.
So I agree with you there.
Yeah, and the whole trumped up charges against Stephanie. Holy crap! I understand why they had that, because of the fact they had to figure out that it was William Donner, the same arresting officer and all that. But I had to
found out his real name.
Yeah, I had to write that down as a negative because
that
it was
negative. I wrote that same negative down.
What do you got? Any other negatives or no?
Not necessarily. No, I really don't.
Yeah.
There really isn't any negatives there.
Yep.
Except the fact maybe that they're tailing her.
Mm-hmm.
After Stevie and Michael leave her apartment. Because you hear them talking on the car phone, and you hear them saying, "Oh, I think I know where they're going. They got a place about 50 miles from here. Don't." And they're like, "Hey, those are the only the net pick you mentioned, and then that one there from me."
Yeah, that's true. All right, so we're gonna take a break. You're gonna hear some other podcast commercials and some other KR audio from these episodes, and we'll be back to close the show.
KITT.
Yes.
Shut up.
Welcome to a collaboration between the Geekcast Radio Network and the Pop Culture Network. This is From the Command Center, the podcast. I am your host, TFG and Mike from the GCRN, and joining me is Zordon himself. Scotty Cash.
That's right, Scotty Cash from the Pop Culture Network, and today we're introducing you to the audio version of From the Command Center, the podcast that will entail our intake on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the episodes, the seasons, and all that other good stuff.
Movie Week in Review is the Geekcast Radio Network's weekly movie podcast. Steve and Mike take a look back on their favorite films and give you their thoughts. They also bring in co-hosts at times. If you are a movie buff, listen to M-Wire, only on geekcastradio.com.
I guess I've been working so hard trying to get my life together and take care of myself. Look at me now. I can't even go home. I can't do anything without you. I'm dependent on you. The last time I depended on someone, I lost him. His name was Michael, too. Michael Long. About you, it's not there.
I'll tell you later.
Tonight?
Not maybe tonight.
In the meantime, I refuse to let this gorgeous day go by without picking some flowers. Is that all right?
That's all right. Don't go too far.
Up 2 men on the ridge above you. One has a rifle.
Stephanie, get inside! Go!
Do you like retro shows? Did you grow up in either the 80s or the 90s? Then tune into Telecast, geekcastradio.com's newest podcast. Join us here on the Telecast as we revisit some of your favorite shows, such as Clarissa Explains It All, Salute Your Shorts, Saved by the Bell, and much, much more. Only on geekcastradio.com.
Hey, I'm Gary.
I'm Mike.
I'm Chuck.
And I'm Justin.
Join the four of us every week on the internet's #1 and longest-running G.I. Joe podcast, What's on Joe Mind?
It's Joe news, reviews, and interviews like you've never heard them before, delivered right to your MP3 player.
Our guests include Jason Marsden, Kevin Michael Richardson, and Matt Yang King from G.I. Joe Renegades, Larry Hama, Robert Atkins, and John Barber from IDW Publishing, and many more from around the online Joe community.
Yeah, it's guys talking about Joe. Think of it as Joe Talk meets sports talk. And we make fun of Chuck.
Right.
Right, and we hey again.
Come on, Chuck. We're just kidding, kinda.
Sometimes Chuck makes fun of himself.
Right, and we okay. Seriously, this is just getting ridiculous now.
It's What's on Joe Mind every week on the Geekcast Radio Network, InsidePulse.com, Stitcher Smart Radio, and iTunes. Download and listen today.
I suppose I still can't say something about Transformers, can I?
Good.
No.
What about sports?
That sounds good.
Yeah, that's all right.
KITT,
Yes, Michael.
just keep driving.
For you, the listeners of Beyond the Night, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. Use audibletrial.com/geekcasterradio. One thing we completely forgot to mention in the Whitebird episode when we were doing singing its praises is I absolutely love the end of the episode. I mentioned this because, even though it's sad, I love the end of the episode. What I loved about it, one thing I didn't mention was after Stevie goes away and, Michael comes in and it's before the whole sad part about, oh, do you think she knew? It's when he goes back into the retreat and Devin is surveying the damage and he's like, do you know what that was? That was a 150-year-old poor Devin.
Oh, poor, yeah. It was like it was a 150-year-old clock.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just
and Michael's like, "Oh, maybe I can fix it." I did forget about that. That's right. That was kind of another comical scene. Like, oh my god,
Yeah.
Michael being a handy repairman. I think not.
Yeah. As far as ratings for this week's episode, I'm going to give Nice and Decent Little Town, I'm going to give it a 3. I enjoyed it. It was all right, but it wasn't like the best episode, and there are certain things that I just didn't really care for it at all.
3.5.
Yeah. As far as Chariot of Gold, that gets almost a 2. I almost down a 1. But it's a 2. It's a solid shit, is what it is.
I'm sorry, I have to give it a 1. I really do.
Yeah.
Just that whole, really, you're gonna brainwash everybody, and including a car.
Yeah, exactly. For those of you who have ever seen the 1999 MTV Films movie Varsity Blues, Whitebird, a 10, a fucking 10. No, I give it a 5 out of 5 for Whitebird. Whitebird is just amazing.
I give it a
Whitebird,
5.
Yeah.
5 is just, you can't beat that episode there. And I agree with you. I think that this episode should have been the season 1 finale.
Yep. It should have been. So, you want to pimp out your radio show there?
Yeah. If you guys would like to hear me, you guys can come over to www.sky106.net. You guys can check out our schedule over there. I do a show every Saturday evening from 7 p.m. Eastern until 10 p.m. Eastern called DJ Music Man's Mayhem. And it features a lot of old school pop and R&B. You can also get a hold of us on Twitter. Follow us over there, as well as add us to MSN Messenger or any messenger that will use MSN. You can also check out our schedule and follow me on Twitter personally if you'd like to do so. The Music Man 08 TheMusic Man 08. I hope to have a blog up soon, so you guys can comment on stuff. I've been meaning to get that link to TFG1 and have not, so please forgive me for that. It's just that website's so damn long. No, actually, to be honest, the website's so long that I don't memorize it. So,
why don't you just, doesn't WordPress...
I don't...
For those of you who may not know, Dion is visually impaired. Doesn't WordPress have something for blind people?
I think. I just don't know how it works.
Okay.
But I'll make sure you get that link. I just can't remember the blog's direct URL is all, because it's so huge. But I'll make sure you get a website nonetheless, and we can put it in the show notes or something, or people click on it.
Yeah.
But anyway, folks, follow me on Twitter, TheMusicMan08. Make sure you let me know how you got the Twitter name. If you have questions about Knight Rider, We will.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I'll get them to TFG1, and maybe we'll cover them in a future episode at some point.
Yes. Thank you for joining us here on Beyond the Night. There are still ways to get in contact with us, so leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com. You can comment on each and every episode post. Email us at feedback@geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter. Beyond the Night is the show Twitter. Mine is TFG on Mike. You can also follow at geekcastradio for all the other network updates. Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/geekcastradio network. Call the voicemail line. Tell us the show you're leaving the message for and your name. 502-526-5821. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Beyond the Night and wish you'll join us next time when we will be reviewing the final 3 episodes closing out Knight Rider Classic Season 1, those being Night Moves, Nobody Does It Better, and Short Notice. For now, I am TFG on Mike with
The Music Man 08.
One man can make a difference, Michael. Michael Knight, a lone crusader in a dangerous world. The world of the Knight Rider.